Yo, what's poppin' guys, Sizzle here. Today we're taking a look at the AUG skins to try and figure out which one's the best. Just a quick note before this video starts, the AUG skins, all don't have a colored scope. It's just an unfortunate truth. I guess it's just not allowed by like whatever skins thing Valve uses, but it's really unfortunate. I just thought I'd put it out there. It's just sad to see. It takes away a little bit from some of these skins. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it is actually most of what you see in game, so a lot of your AUG skins don't matter that much. Anyway, first off we have stock. Really, probably one of the worst looking stock skins, honestly. It has a lot of nothing going on. It almost looks out of place with itself, like the front here and the back here don't go together that well. Not a great start, to say the least. And let's see if I can figure out which one it is, because there's a lot of stock looking AUG skins. It's another thing. I think it's probably this one. It's like a low D tier. Actually, you know what? Probably our first F tier stock skin. You really do want an AUG skin. The stock one is kind of ass. You don't want the colony though, because it's like the same thing, but like the tiniest bit brighter. I mean, not the tiniest bit. It's much brighter, but like in game, you only see this front half, so it sucks. As 99% of AUG skins are like just this back 70%. And you see like this tiny corner up here, and then everything else you see is basically stock. This is pretty much stock though. I mean, that's all there's to say about it. I think I actually put it in F tier already, which is where I do think it belongs. The problem is that makes me confused as to what stock might be. I'm gonna go with this. I know it's probably also wrong, but this is slightly better than stock, but it's very slight. I mean, this might as well be stock. Then we have the AUG Storm. I mean, same deal, might as well be stock. The difference is, at least there's a decent color in the back now, but it's still not that great. Probably a D tier skin. Then next up, we have the AUG Contractor, and this thing might as well, I mean, I think this just is stock. It does mash actually a bit, like, better together than a lot of the other stuff here, like the back and the front kind of actually mix well. This probably should have been what stock actually was. It'd still be a D tier stock, but it is actually okay. Right, I'll give it that. And it's got a different colored mag, I guess. So yeah, just low D tier. It's like marginally better than stock. Then we have the AUG Daedalus, which yet again only using the back half. Also is a really shit design in the back, and it's really dark as well. I really do not like 99.9% of AUG skins, if you guys could not tell already. This is no exception. This one is really just not that great. I'm assuming it's this one? Probably worse than stock, honestly. Then we have the AOG Sweeper. Really bad back texture yet again. I mean, at least this one's got like orange on it somewhere, but it's not a lot of orange, unlike a lot of the orange skins. I wouldn't really pick this up for the amount of orange it has in the back or whatever. It's not notable. I could not tell you which one this was, so I'm gonna guess it's this one. I'd say it's still worse than stock. I wouldn't, buy this skin. Then we have the AUG Navy Moreno. This is the first one to finally use the front half of the weapon, but it, for some reason, only uses it sparingly. Like, they have a nice blue background in the back, they have a pretty solid design in the back. The back actually looks really just clean. I mean, it's somewhat dark, but it's really clean. But the front, they decided, let's just use the patterns, but not the background. I don't know why they did that, but at least there is something in the front, and that's pretty notable as far as AUG skins are concerned. So that's enough to boost it up to high C. If it actually had the background in the front here, I'd say it just has a solid color scheme and design, and I like the pattern and whatever. And I would have put this in B tier, but it doesn't have the front, so it's going in the C tier. Then we have the AWP Surveillance. Yeah, I mean, the back doesn't go with the front, and also, like I mentioned, you don't see the back anyway. It's just another, F tier. Just don't use this. Stop getting these. This. It is so hard, because the skin's all in the back, but for some reason all the images cut off, half the back, so it's impossible to tell what skin's what, but most of them are going to be in F tier. The AUG skins generally suck. Then we have the AWPCondemned. This is the skin from before, but with more orange. At least this one actually has a sizable amount of orange to it. And it is in the space where you're going to see it. You will actually see this orange under your gun. But then the problem is, you'll see this orange, you'll know this guy's got a skin, Then he'll show you the rest of it, and you're like, what the fuck is this? I mean, what is the rest of the skin? But just honestly, for having that much of a difference, to the point where you can actually see something, that's kind of a plus here. As shit as this skin is, it probably puts it right below the Storm for me in D tier, because it's got something, and it's the actual good part of this skin is in the right place. Then we have the AUG Radiation Hazard. Same problem, it's in the far back, you're never seeing this in your life. You're seeing this little rust right here. The only way you're seeing this is if you inspect it, and you're not going to be doing that. Otherwise, I think it's cool. I think the radiation symbol is in like a, you know, it's in a decent spot, right? And it probably could have been better if it was like more central here or whatever, but otherwise, I mean, the rest of this is cool, but it's on like the bottom half of the skin has the cool, like, you know, orange stripe design, and then the back part of the skin has the actual cool radiation symbol, so you never see it. It's a cool skin that you're just never gonna actually see in game, which is kind of problematic as far as things are concerned. Even more problematic is this thing is here. Okay, I think this is it. I will say it's better than most of the other stuff in F tier, but it's still an F tier skin because you're not seeing a lot when you're actually using it. Then we have the Ugg Spalted Wood. It's a weird ass name. And this tried using the wood design from the dualies. I mean, it uses it, but it only uses on the back half of the skin. Yet again, the front half is stock. And when you're making a wood skin that, you know, it's supposed to be just one like piece of driftwood almost, you gotta commit. Like, the dualies were made completely out of wood. This is half wood, half metal, and it's not the good type of wood, right? Like, some of the good types of wood are like stuff like the Nova Walnut, for example. That's a really phenomenal type of wood, and it works well with the metal. This is like unnatural types of wood, so you're gonna commit to the whole thing being an unnatural type of wood, or else it looks super out of place like this. And this does just look super out of place. I'd say it's just, you know, just another F tier. I still would not use this over stock, as bad as stock is. Then we have the Copperhead, which, yeah, this is just horrible. Old ass skin from the Dust Collection, scraped to hell, will always be scraped to hell. I don't even know if this comes in better conditions or whatever, but even if it does, it'll have a lot of scraping to it. And the design in the back is just god awful. I don't know what they were trying. I mean, Copperhead's like a snake, but this is definitely not a snake. I don't know what this is, but it is not a snake. What it is, though, is an F tier skin for sure. The question is, can I find it? Because there's so many similar looking skins. I don't know if this looks the same for you guys, because I actually rarely watch these videos back, but I am having such a hard time finding half of these skins. Anyway, next up, the Ugg Hot Rod. Pretty straightforward, stupidly expensive. I think it's like $700 in factory new, so I would not be buying this. But just from a design perspective, it's just a red back, shiny red back. I kind of wish it was the whole thing shiny and red, because that would be insane. But even shiny red back, you actually see the red part, and then when you look at the rest of the weapon, it's actually a really clean red finish for the most part. So this is a kind of clean one. It's a lot less clean than the thing we have in C tier, and honestly, with how this is going, even though it doesn't do a lot, I'm moving that thing up to B tier. There's not a lot of competition out here. So yeah, C tier right here, you at least get drawn in by this one, and it's like noticeably different in the right place at least. Same with the Anodized Navy. Got the same upsides. The difference is the color red used for the Hot Rod is good. The color blue used for the Anodized Navy, or anodized, I don't know. The Anodized Navy has a much worse color of blue, but it's still a decent one. It's still noticeably different, and it's okay. Probably solid C tier. Then we have, I think it's what I'm currently using because someone gave me this, the Ugg Carved Jade. It's got an actual emerald finish. It's not like just a color green that's shiny. This is like, you can see the emerald-like texture on the back. But notice how I said on the back. I actually have this, and this is why I'm so annoyed, because this skin looks, I mean, just look at the back of the skin. This looks beautiful. But what you see in game, like you see this little scratch right here where my mouse is, you see like this little box right here, and everything else you're not seeing unless you're inspecting your weapon, which is like a complete waste of everyone's time. That being said, the best of the C tiers, for the same reason the other C tiers are good. Then we have the Ugg Amber Fade, and this is trying the same thing, but with copper and like that stupid green copper. Looks horrible like usual. The Amber Fades really just never look good. At least the back copper here looks okay, but that's like the far back. You have to, like, not only do you have to inspect this weapon, you have to let the animation play out so that the weapons get shifted and turned to actually see the good part of this weapon, Otherwise, this looks worse than stock. But, you know, I'll give it some level of credit. It's got something, right, that you'll actually see. So I'll put it in D tier. Like, when you're looking at the skin, you'll at least see this little weird metal texture here. So I can at least give it credit for D tier. Then we have the AUG wings. It's got wings, but you know where the wings are? Well out of what you see in game. Like I said, you see this tiny box here. You will not see these wings unless you're like inspecting your gun or you have a weird like setup. Just don't use this over your stock. No one's gonna see this skin, as cool as it might look. Like everything in F tier basically doesn't matter. Then we have the AUG Ricochet, which it's okay. It's got an okay color scheme, and the general gray undertone kind of fits well with the rest of the stock that's in the front, because yeah, it's one of the like trillion AUG skins that doesn't use the front half of the weapon. The thing is, it has, in the one part where it matters, it has gray here, but maybe with other patterns you can have a light blue here so people actually notice stuff. But when you actually look at this, it's not horrible. It's a solid like mid D tier skin, probably still under the storm. Then next up we have the Ugg Triqua, and this, it finally uses the whole skin. Now what it does with it is just kind of clean it up and not use great colors. Like this is a bad color orange, I'm sorry, it's not the color orange I want to be looking at. But I do have to give it credit, it actually uses every part of the skin that it seems that people are allowed to, even though still, like what I'm saying, you see, at least I see, like the scope is covering about like half of the AUG skin when I'm using in-game. But the other half, you actually have something different. And just, this is the first completed AUG skin. I just want to put that out there. We're like halfway through these skins. This is the first one that actually uses the entire skin. And, I mean, it doesn't do it particularly great. It's nothing, like, crazy. It doesn't look really good or anything. It doesn't look bad, don't get me wrong, but it really, it's not doing that much. All it's doing is using the whole skin, and that is honestly enough for me to put it in A tier. I just need to actually find it now. It's kinda annoying. I think it's this. I'm going with that. I'm putting it in A tier, just for being a completed skin. One of the few skins so far that, if you look at it, it actually looks different. Then we have the AUG Amber Slipstream. Same problems as before with every other AUG, except this is just like a really dark camo looking skin. It's just another F tier. I don't even like the time to like try and process and say some cool shit. It just is another F tier. Then we have the Ugg Tomcat, which, yet again, one that actually uses the whole weapon. Now this one does it much worse than the last one. The last one looked like pretty high tech, you know, nice metal sheen through the main part of the weapon. This one, I mean, it's definitely different than stock. I wouldn't necessarily call it better though. And the one, you know, cool part of the design, the reason this is called the Tomcat, is so far back on this weapon that you're never gonna see it. There's actually kind of a neat little detail back here, but they need to put it in the middle so someone can actually see it. Because no one's gonna see that unless you're inspecting this weapon. That being said, like I said with the other one, this uses the whole weapon. Problem was, this uses a bit worse, and honestly, I put this under that blue skin we have in B tier. I just need to, yet again, I gotta actually find these. That is like the hardest part of making this tier list, actually finding the skins I'm looking at. I think it's this one. So it's a low B tier. Just use the whole skin, it doesn't use it great, but it does use the whole skin, which is such a plus when we're talking about AUG skins. Then we have the AUG Plague. Actually a really sick design in the back, and it actually goes a little bit into the front, and the front is a bit different. It's not exactly better or anything, it doesn't exactly fit the skin all that well, but it's nice and like rusty in the front, I guess, so it's actually a little bit different there. And it does have this top part under the scope, this texture as well, so you actually see that. But otherwise, I mean, it's a really cool, like, you know, skull butterfly thing on the back here, which almost looks like also like a snake, like with a little vertebrae, whatever coming up here. Yeah, I mean, pretty cool design in the back, but generally just like a metallic design. You can actually see this one a little bit, so that's kind of a really big plus here, for the same reason it's been a plus with everything else. Honestly, probably put it above the one we just looked at before, because while you see less of this skin, the part that you do see is a much better design than the Tomcat or whatever. Next up, we have the Ugg Random Access. I accidentally clicked the plague again, so you have to wait a sec. Ugg Random Access, basic like orange circuit board in the back. At least you see this a little bit, and it's somewhat okay, but it's nowhere near as clean as stuff like the Hot Rod, the Anodized Navy, or like the Emerald thing. So for me, this is just a like D tier skin. It's okay in the back, but you don't see it 99% of the time. I'd probably put it above the other like orange skin. Anyway, next up we have the Ugg Midnight Lily. If it loads, because CS servers are struggling right now, and dude, this is just so unfortunate because this is one of those few skins on CS that has a really cool holo effect across the whole skin. You might see this in game. When you're walking around, other people will actually see this. Other people will see this little effect because holos apply better when you're not looking at them in first person, which is kind of how they are. And it's got a lot of holos all across the thing. It's got a cool thing where the texture goes upside down the other side. I think that's really nice. Only problem being you maybe see like a half a petal right here in game most of the time. You kind of have to be viewing it a lot to actually see this effect, but it's a cool enough effect where it can actually kind of drive it up a lot for me. I really do like the holo effects. I hope they do them more going forward, but as of right now, there's only like 5 skins in the game that have this cool ass effect on it, and this happens to be one of them. I think this is the design. I'm putting it high C tier because it looks cool when you do see it, like so cool that it actually can kind of carry the skin a bit. Then we have the Flame Yormangir or whatever. Definitely said that wrong. I just don't know how to say it. I don't know. The actual, decent colors. Not so crazy design, but definitely not a bad one. But decent colors. That's all I can really say. Same problems as pretty much every other skin on here, but it does have some really nice colors to it that kind of put it to the top of D tier instead of like the middle. Then next up we have the Ugg Sandstorm. Wow. I mean, this actually uses the whole weapon. I didn't recognize it from the preview. I don't remember remembering that otherwise. But yeah, the back basically looks like a slightly worse version of like the Emerald. The difference is the front has a texture. Now the texture isn't exactly amazing. Doesn't exactly flow with the rest of the skin. I don't know why it just abruptly goes from like harsh desert with some really cool art, like mind you. I really like there's like the red glowing sun on a bunch of rocks and dust and stuff. But then the front is like a galaxy kinda in the front, just far front, and then the other part is just like randomly green for some reason. It does at least the textures themselves kind of blend in right here. Like the fog and the dust kind of go together. And then otherwise you do have this red part here, which is what a lot of what you're gonna see is this red top here, and that's okay. And that's a decent red top. I'd say it's probably like the best thing we've seen so far. I'm not even gonna lie. It uses the whole skin to some decent degrees, right? The red actually looks okay. The back looks phenomenal. And this front barrel looks different at least. It doesn't exactly look bad, but it really doesn't look that good. But just having it and having it not look bad is enough to put this thing at the highest point that we've seen so far. Then we have the Ugg Torque. Decent back, but like the part that matters is just black, so it just looks like stock 90% of the time. But when you do see the whole skin, it's kind of cool. I'll give it that. Just put it somewhere in D tier. It doesn't really matter too much exactly where. I don't think anyone should be using most of these Ugg skins. Then there's the Ugg Aristocrat. At least this one you see some level design, but the actual design in the back is kind of bad. I think the anodized navy does what this does, just better. Having one simplistic color in the back is a lot better than this random intricate design in the back, and complete stock with a bunch of scratches in the front. Ends up looking really bad to the point that this is probably the worst thing we've seen. Easy F tier. Then next up we have the Ugg Arctic Wolf. Yet, like the only Ugg skin in the whole game which actually was built from like the front back. And it looks so good, man. This actually looks so clean. This might be the Ugg I pick up after like making this video. Really, really clean white tip, and that is what you see. This is what everyone sees when they look at your weapon. They see the white tip, they see the stock scope, and then they see this nice little black part right here. And they don't see that there's fur here, and then the fur gets dark as it goes back, but if they did, it's still decent looking. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And then the mag here kind of looks a little bit out of place, but like I said, no one's really seeing this. So you're just seeing this really beautiful, like, just almost like just white out in the front. It is a really good Ugg skin. I don't think anyone can really complain about this one. It's easily an S tier. By far the best thing we've seen so far. We have the Ugg Bengal Tiger. Tiger skin in the background. I mean, it's got nice orange and white, and then it has like a basic tiger design to it. I don't know what to say, man. It's another one of those skins, man. You're just not gonna see most of it. Probably a high D tier though. Probably the best half skin we've seen so far. Then we have the AUG Fleet Flock. Yet another one using the whole skin. I do like that. The front just has like a basic marble finish, which is okay. It's not as clean as the Arctic Wolf finish, but it definitely is not bad. It doesn't match too well with the back of the skin, but the back of the skin's got like a really nice... I like the design on the back. If the design on the back just honestly flowed through this whole thing, I would really like this. It's definitely not going to be good with like stickers and stuff, but I do like just, you know, birds kind of flying around in the clouds with really nice colors, really nice design. Like the actual artwork here is amazing. And it does use the full skin. I'll probably put it below like, what was it called, the Sandstorm or whatever in A tier. It's a pretty nice skin, very bright skin, very noticeable. Then we have the Ugg Side Med. One of those high-tech skins again with a red center, which is kind of nice because this is what you're going to see. You're going to see this red center with a nice yellow part of the tip. And overall, I mean, this doesn't look phenomenal or anything, but for an Ugg skin, use the whole skin and it looks pretty decent. Can't give it too much fleck. Probably a solid A tier. I want to move down the other skin we had down to B tier, because I don't think it's as good as the other stuff we have in A tier now. Luckily, we're having a bunch of good skins show up right at the end. Then we have the AUG Stimphilion, which, another unfortunate one. There's actually something in the front, though. You have these, like, little textures here on the barrel, and then this, you know, this thing right here. Otherwise, though, it's just like slightly darker version of stock in the front, but it is slightly darker. It's noticeably like different, and then the back has a bunch of just crazy, just like native tribe design things going on. Might even be from like Egypt or something. You have this bird crying out. You have this guy with like his bow here. This guy jumping over the bird, which I think is a kind of funny little texture there. And then you have like I guess another bird with its wings open, kind of coming in from the top. It's got good colors too. The back here looks amazing, and the front at least has something. I think it's enough to put it probably above the Hot Rod, but below the Emerald for me. One of the weird placed dogs on this list. I don't really know how to explain why it's there. Then we have the AUG Momentum. Another one that uses the full skin, and just like the other Momentum skin, I forgot what it was on, this one looks pretty good. The unfortunate part is all the arrows are in the back, so you don't really see a lot of these arrows. That's what I liked with the other skin. You saw all the arrows like right in the middle, like pointing you forward. But even without the arrows, this is just a nice finish. Like you have like the red like outsides, and mainly the red front is what you see. That transitions into a pretty solid color blue. And then if you do see the whole skin, the arrows here are just really nice design. It's a very simple but pretty clean overall finish. I'd say it's a low S tier. It's nowhere near the Arctic Wolf for me. I think the Arctic Wolf is probably going to be my AUG choice. Then we have the AUG Death by Puppy. I don't know what this has to do with puppies other than like this little weird zombie dog in the back here. And I guess I guess that's what that is. This design of like this dog is like stretched out and changed out this weapon. But you're not gonna know that unless you see this one. Like this is what tipped me off. The rest of this does not look like puppies unless you look really hard at it. Which you're not gonna do because otherwise it just looks like a jarbled mess of colors. Like someone just unloaded about 15 different paintball guns onto this thing and saw what came out. If you like that, that might be for you, but even then, you're not, like I said, you're not going to really see it. The whole front of the weapon's still stock. It's just, for me, this is another just D tier weapon. I guess I put it down somewhere earlier, but you guys kind of get the point. It's a D tier. It doesn't have to be the right skin at this point. Then we have the AUG Akahiba Accept. I mean, this one's just a classic. The actual skin in the back is cool. It's like one of the few with the actual like anime-related design to it. It's unfortunate that the front isn't colored, but the back is so vibrant and colorful that you're actually gonna look at it. Right, you're gonna see this like weird, I think Japanese is right here, like Japanese text here, with a blue background, and then when you look even further, you see a nice white background, you see Get Wrecked, 1v5 clutch, and then like some little anime army chick in the back here. Unfortunately, this is like stupid expensive, but if it wasn't, it's one of the few half skins that's actually okay, and that's because the front part that you see is actually still really, like, you see this little blue corner. It depends on your view model, to be fair. I think my view model's probably a bit more fucked up than a lot of other people's. Like, I use a pretty weird one. But that's why I hate a lot of these skins, because I don't see half of these skins. I would see, though, this little blue corner, and then I would see the rest of the weapon, because, you know, someone's probably going to inspect it or something, or I'll be walking... When you're walking past someone, you can still see the full gun. And you'll see this, and it's just cool. It's a decent design. It's a very unique one. There's not a lot of... I think there's like one other anime skin in the game at this point. Probably high C... You know... Yeah, I'll put it above the Mad Cats in B tier. This is a very unique case. It's just something I really like the design of. Then we have the Ugg Chameleon. Notoriously bad skin. It's like been one of the cheapest reds in the game for a while. And I don't think it's because it's like design, right? I actually think the Chameleon in the back's kind of actually ugly a bit, don't get me wrong, but it's not completely horrible. And then the background to go with it, kind of, you know, it's a decent background. It's definitely different from the stock, noticeably different, and it draws attention to the Chameleon. The problem is, like I've said, you see this front part of the weapon, and there's nothing different there. And then the part that you do see has, like, maybe this fly in it, if you're lucky. The actual Chameleon itself is hidden so far off the weapon that you're not seeing this unless you're inspecting the weapon. Kind of defeats the whole point of the thing. I don't even know if... Yeah, I think this is the Chameleon. You can kind of see the tongue. And it's so far back, it's even being cut off the image we have here. You can see, like, the front, like, little bit of the Chameleon. It's like a mid D tier. It's just one of those random D tier skins. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We have a total of, what, like 6 skins that are even completed in this. And the Arctic Wolf is hands down the best one of those. See if you can get yourself your hands on like an actual Ugg skin that people will actually see. I guess unless you have like a view model set up where you can actually see most of the weapon or whatever. But yeah, hope you guys enjoy with this. If you do have, you know, if you can actually see the rest of the Ugg skin, and you want to dispute a lot of what I put in D or F tier, you know, feel free, but it probably won't change my personal opinion on it, to be honest with you. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.